Happy Sabbath. Let's open with prayer. Dear God, we thank you for all that you continue to do for us and the many blessings you pour upon us that we are not even aware of. Continue to direct our thoughts, our feelings this day towards the sanctuary in heaven. Help us to lay aside our cares and our worries of this world, especially on this day, the last day of our camp and these sacred hours. In Jesus' name, Amen. So this is, I believe, my last presentation camp. Many thoughts we haven't come to a conclusion about, and obviously lots of questions I haven't answered yet. So we've been speaking about angels and their roles, and we've been talking about the work of the third angel, which many believe to be Elder Tess. And this is where we got to in our last study. So this is the boardwork for presentation number 3, and we were speaking about the midnight cry. So we came to the conclusion that the midnight cry awakens us to the subject of gender equality. In a more generic sense, it awakens us to prepare for the coming of the bridegroom. And that was the imagery that we got from the parable of the 10 virgins. Will remind us that we weren't supposed to have someone doing this job for us. This was our work to do. And the virgins fell asleep. So, are there any questions on that? Okay, I just want to remind us that someone said that the parable of the 10 virgins has been fulfilled and will be fulfilled again. That was a paraphrase of a Spirit of Prophecy quote. They spoke about the time of Christ, and they spoke about the Millerite history. And we spoke in this movement about the midnight cry. That was the message given in 2018. So my question is, how do you know that was the midnight cry? Someone people just stood up and said, oh, that's the midnight cry.
Abanye bavese basho ukuthi ukukhala kwasebusuku lokho.
I guess you all accepted that.
Angazi noma nikwamukele yini lokho.
So how do you know it was?
Benazi ngani ukuthi iwona umlayezo lo.
These people, I don't know, how do you know that was the midnight cry?
Bizikwazi abantu ukuthi bazi ngani ukuthi umlayezo okukhala kwasebusuku.
No one has any idea? No thoughts?
Akekho nomqondo mhlawumbe thile.
Yes. I should miss places. You don't like them anymore. Oh, they took your chair. I saw that. Elders competing for chairs. Go ahead.
I think when we look at the line of the priest,
Line of the priests.
Masibuka ke umuntu wabapristi.
and 2014 later to the midnight.
2014 is midnight.
Masibuka 2014 sibona ukukhala kwasebusuku.
So from 2014 to 2019, we expect the midnight cry in that period.
So you expect the midnight cry between 2014 and 2019.
Ukukhala sikulindela phakathi ko-2014 no-2019.
Yeah, and we end up having 2016 as an increase of knowledge for the midnight cry.
And we have 2016 being an increase of knowledge of the midnight cry.
Sibona 2016 kuba ukwanda kolwazi kwakukhala kwasebusuku.
Everybody agree with that so far?
Ngabe siyavumelana ngalokho.
And when the message is given in 2018, it qualifies to be the midnight cry in that dispensation.
And so when the message is given, it qualifies to be the midnight cry in that dispensation.
Umlayezo omofika ngaleso sikhathi uyafaneleka ukuthi kube umlayezo wokukhala kwasebusuku.
Everyone fine with that?
Ngabe siyavumelana ngalokho.
Yes? No?
Yebo noma cha?
What's the difference between the midnight cry and the loud cry?
Yini umehluko phakathi kokukhala kwasebusuku nokumemeza kwasebusuku?
What was that? Sorry? You're still gathering your thoughts. We'll wait for you.
Usacabanga sizokulinda.
You will face you gather. We'll wait.
Siyabekezela sokulinda.
You're on the clock. Sorry? Oh, you've already gathered your thoughts and there weren't any. Stay there.
I think it's just dispensations. It's more or less the similar thing, but the loud cry we normally mark it in the next dispensation.
So you mark the loud cry in the next dispensation?
No, in another dispensation, let me say.
Not the next one.
In the next.
Sorry?
In the next dispensation.
In the next one after the midnight cry one.
There's no difference actually, because it's the same, I think.
There's no difference.
Yeah.
They're the same thing.
Yeah. I think so.
Behind you?
Christina, awukho umehluko kuyafana konke.
Yeah, she is right. Because she said progression of the coming out as a loud cry.
So you said she's correct, and then you said something, a progression of something, which is something?
Of the midnight cry method to use progressive to the dispensation of the and the Lord because of progression.
So the midnight cry progresses to the loud cry.
Yes.
Ukukhala kwasebusuku kuyaqhubekela kuba ukumemeza.
So the loud cry began in 2018.
Ukumemeza baqala ngo-2018.
Okay?
No, I would say she's right. Both are formalization waymarks.
Both are formalization waymarks.
Konke ke kuwumugqa la kuqala khona uma kusungula khona.
Yeah,
They're the same thing.
ngakho kuyafana.
I think the midnight cry is a call that is based on virtue to repent or prepare.
Based on what?
Virgins, 10 virgins to prepare. And blood cry is also another call that, or a message that to be used by virgins to be ready to prepare.
Okay, I just want to clarify that the midnight cry was not a message for the virgins to prepare.
Ebengifisa ukuchaza ukuthi ukukhala kwasebusuku bengasumlayezo ukuthi bazilungiselele abe intombi ezishumi.
Lots of people seem to think that,
Abantu abaningi baye bacabanga lokho,
but it was for everybody to prepare.
kodwa bekuthi wonke umuntu akwazi ukuzilungiselela.
Because the virgins were the ones who were meant to give the cry.
Ngoba intombi yizona bezimele zimemeze ebusuku.
And they fell asleep, not doing their work.
Base belala bangawenzi umsebenzi wabo.
You know?
I think it's it's the same one is in a fractal and the other one is in the bigger line.
So it's all about fractals.
Yeah.
Sibona ke ama-fractals lapho.
The midnight cry is specifically to the church, but the loud cry is
And once to the church and once to the world.
Enye yebandla nenye yomhlaba ke.
And behind you? Oh, I thought someone else had their hand up. No? No hand? It was you. You were going to say the same thing.
Ozosho ukufanayo.
So, we seem to have various ideas.
Sinemqondo ehlukene.
I just want to... My thoughts are that there's no such thing as a midnight cry
Umqondo wami ukuthi ayikho into efana nokuthi ukukhala kwasebusuku
that precedes the loud cry.
ehambela phambili ukumemeza.
It's really something this movement has created
Yinto esiyikhandile thina ke siyi-movement.
when we create these lines,
Masikhanda ke imigqa lena
which we call priests, Levites, and Nethinims, etc.
esiyibiza ke ngamapriest, ama-Levites, nama-Nethinims ukuqhubeka nabo.
And two things.
Izinto ezimbili.
If Elder Jeff hadn't taught from the very beginning
Mangabe umdala uJeff azange afundise kwasekuqaleni
something that was against spirit of prophecy,
into ephambana nomoya wesiprofethi,
we wouldn't have been able to create these lines.
beke singeke sikwazi ukuthi silungise le migqa.
Does anybody know what he taught,
Ngabe khona owaziyo ukuthi ufundiseni
which was against the spirit of prophecy, not in agreement
okuphambene
with it?
nomoya wesiprofethi?
And people left the movement over that issue.
Abantu base besuka ku-movement ngenxa lokho.
Milton,
Is it no public evangelism?
was it no public evangelism? No.
Ukuze ukuthi ezovangelo ke
This was long before that.
bengangenzeki ke lokho.
It's what his whole message was built upon,
Ila umlayezo wonke wakhe usekelwe khona.
conceptually.
Masiyibukeke ngoqobo.
Right?
When he created the second time of the land,
Good, we'll go with that. When he created the second time was the end.
Makakhanda ukuphela kwesikhathi kwesibili.
So I'll give you some clues.
Ngizophana ngemqondo ekhona.
What is rain?
Iyini imvula?
A message, someone said.
Umlayezo khona oshilo kanjalo.
And what's the difference between former rain and latter rain?
Yini umehluko phakathi kwemvula yamuva nemvula
What's the difference?
yokugcina? Yini umehluko?
Anyone? Yes?
the amount.
Sorry? The amount.
Inani
So the former for invention, naturally,
So the amount.
inani
Yes?
futhi.
The former rain is for germination and growth. For germination and growth.
But one's germination and growth, and the other one you're going to say is for maturity.
Then
enye imvula ukuthi iy'tshalo zihlume, enye ukuthi zikwazi ukukhula.
then later rain is for prepare for the plant for harvest.
Okay. Does everybody have their hand up? Okay, so I'm going to say there's none. There's no difference between the two,
Uzothi awukho umehluko phakathi kwazo zombili.
but someone said in quantity.
Omunye ke uthi inani.
So, if rain is the message, is there a different message between the former rain and the latter rain?
Mangabe imvula umlayezo, ngabe ukhona umlayezo ohlukile phakathi kwemvula yokuqala nemvula yangamuva.
I didn't hear what that whisper was.
No.
It was like a wave. Yes or no?
No.
No difference.
Awukho umehluko.
Of course there is.
Ukhona umehluko.
Look.
No, it starts.
Whatever that waymark is,
Noma ngabe yini lo mugqa esiwubonayo.
former rain, latter rain.
Imvula ke yokuqala nemvula ke yokugcina.
Agree with that?
Siyavumelana nalokho.
Okay? We said rain is the message,
Sithi imvula umlayezo.
and we've said that there's no difference
Sithe futhi akunamehluko
except the quantity.
ngaphandle kwenani liba khona.
Okay? So in a generic, general sense, there is no difference.
Masiyibukisisa sibona umehluko ongako khona.
So, don't tell me what this waymark is,
Ungangitsheli ukuthi le nkombandlela iyini,
but we'll say it's... No, we won't give it any title. When you're here in the former rain, what are you saying? What is the message of the former rain?
masibuka ke imvula yokuqala sithi yini umlayezo wakhona.
It is... Let's finish that sentence. Good. It is coming.
Ukuza
What's this?
kuyini lokho?
Is this?
Kuyini nkombandlela?
Following Cobus's thought, yes?
Ngicabanga Kobus
Now in the latter rain,
wasibuka ke imvula
would be right here.
masifika lapho.
It has come.
Sibona ukuthi seyifikile.
There's various things we could say. I'm not saying one's better than the other,
Into esingayisho akisho ukuthi kunempendulo engcono kunenye.
and that's the same thing.
Kuba into enye efanayo.
So it's the same message,
Umlayezo wodwa
but there's a difference between the two.
kodwa kunomehluko phakathi kwawo.
You would agree with that?
Ngabe siyavumelana?
So clearly the latter rain,
Imvula yokugcina yona.
even if it's the same message, it has a new element to it.
Noma ngabe kuwumlayezo ofanayo kodwa kuba khona okufakwayo noma okwenzekelayo.
And the difference is that this waymark has now happened.
Umehluko ke ukuthi sokwenzekile ke noma umugqa lo ofika sokwenzekile.
And we all know what the waymark is.
Siyazi ukuthi inkombandlela lena yini yona.
Sunday law.
Sunday law.
Is everybody okay with what's on the board here?
Ngabe umuntu uyavumelana nokunisikubonayo la ebhodini.
Nothing unusual.
Ayikho into engajwayelekile.
So even though there's no difference between the two,
Noma ngabe awukho umehluko ongako phakathi kwazo zombili.
clearly
Ngokucacile
the latter rain is a new message.
imvula yokugcina iwumlayezo omusha.
We agree with that.
Siyavumelana nalokho.
The message, there's a change in the message because the event that you have been anticipating has come and passed.
Kuwumlayezo omusha ngoba lokho besikubukile ukuthi kuzokwenzakala kufikile sekudlulile futhi.
Now, in order to promote himself.
ukuze akwazi ukuzikhulisa noma azikhuphule.
That's called self-promotion,
Asithi ukuzikhuphula yena ngokwakhe
which angels tend to do.
ekungavamile ukwenzeka.
What did Elder Jeff do?
Umdala uJeff wenzeni?
All this is in agreement with spirit prophecy.
Lokhu konke kuyavumelana ke nomoya wesiprofethi.
So you know he's going to do something against this,
Siyazi ukuthi uzokwenza okuphambene nalokhu
because I wouldn't lead you into some random subject.
ngoba ngeke nginise esihlokweni esinye esingajwayelekanga.
This is the preamble to my question that I asked a moment ago.
Lokhu kwandelela umbuzo wami engingawubuza ngaphambili.
What did Elder Jeff do that's against spirit prophecy?
Yini umdala uJeff ayenzile phambene nomoya wesiprofethi
To promote himself,
ukuthi azikhuphule yena,
to promote his message.
ukuthi akhuphule umlayezo wakhe.
We'll go with Russell first here and this thing. Some other people, come on, look at the back. Some
Abanye
other people here.
bakhulume nabo emuva.
I think he's going to say that the latter rain started in 2001 and it's going to create two latter rains. The latter rain is smaller quantity, which is the main and food. And that's
I'll stop there. So he's going to say that the latter rain begins before the Sunday law. You didn't quite say it that way.
Ukuthi ivule yokugcina iqala ngaphambi kwe-Sunday law ukuthi yenzeke.
And in order to justify his false statement,
Ukuthi alungise ke imicabango yakhe nendlela ayibeka ngayo.
he says, we'll call it the latter rain in measure,
Uthi sizoyibiza ngemvule yokugcina eza ke ngobuningi,
which is something he made up.
okuyinto ayenzile yena noma zengayo.
Stina?
I wanted to say more or less the same.
So more or less the same thing.
Beyafuna ukusho cishe okufanayo.
So I want us to be really clear on that.
Ngifuna usicacele ke lokho.
Now, that came to the consciousness of the movement, if I can put it that way. They became aware of it
Kwavela kwasobala ke ku-movement lokho
around 2008.
ngonyaka 2008.
Before that, we were a cult.
Ngaphambi kwalokho ke besiyikhali.
Whatever he says, people just do.
Ukuthi okushiwoyo kuyenziwa wonke umuntu uyakwenza akabuzi.
So in a derogatory way, by the way.
Hayi ngendlela embi ngaleyo.
Because when it got worked out that that's what he was doing, when people worked out that's what he was doing,
Abantu ke babalungiselela into bekayenza leyo.
I think even he was surprised
Naye bekemangele
when someone told him
makuba khona umtshelayo
that, you know, you're doing that.
ukuthi uyazi ukuthi uyakwenza lokho.
And guess who told him?
Ngicabanga ukuthi ngidedile.
So, when we talk about the midnight cry,
Masikhuluma ke ngokukhala kwasebusuku.
where does the midnight cry go? Where do you place the midnight cry?
Siyibona kuphi noma singayibeka phi ke? Singabeka phi ukukhala kwasebusuku?
In this picture.
Masibuka lesithombe.
Liberty.
before the Sunday, formerly.
It goes before the Sunday law.
Iba ngaphambi kwe-Sunday law.
Milton.
I'm still processing.
Still processing. At the back. Okay? So tell me why liberty is wrong. Tell me why liberty is wrong. Liberty said it's before, and you said it's after. Tell me why you disagree.
Ngitshele kungani ungavumelani nempendulo.
It's on the mark.
What does it on the mark mean?
It's on the Sunday law.
It's on here, right here.
Ngabelani?
Progressive.
It's progressive from here, like going forward,
No, from before.
from before. So you agree with him?
Ngabe niyavumelana?
After the Sunday law. So tell me why
After the
you
Sunday law.
disagree with these people behind you. Because the midnight cry happens in the latter rain.
Ukukhala kwasebusuku kwenzeka ngesikhathi imvula yokugcina.
How do you know the midnight cry happens in the latter rain, not the former rain?
Wazi kanjani ukuthi ukukhala kwasebusuku kwenzeka kwimvula yokugcina noma yokuqala?
Because the characteristics of the midnight cry tell us what? What?
Ngoba ke esikutholayo ukukhuluma ke ngokukhala kwasebusuku usitshela ukuthi
Tell us more about the Sunday law that's passed.
usitshela ke ngeSunday law esedlulile.
I thought we agreed that the midnight cry tells us to get our act together because Christ is about to come.
Bengicabanga ukuthi umlayezo wokukhala kwasebusuku usitshela ukuthi masizilungiselele ngoba uKristu useyeza.
Okay. So we haven't got our act together in the Sunday law.
Asikazilungisi ngaso lesikhathi seSunday law.
Is that right?
Ngabe kunjalo?
Okay. So we all fell asleep.
So silele sonke
So we're going to fall asleep soon.
noma sizolala maduzane.
That's what you just said.
Yilokho okushilo.
Yep. So you're getting your bed ready.
Ukuthi sizilungiselela ukulala manje.
So we, according to Tina, she's predicting, prophesying,
Ngokathina ke uyaprofesa
that we're going to wait and get so bored
uthi solinda silinde size sibhoreke
for the close of probation
ngesikhathi sokuvala komusa
that we're all going to fall asleep soon.
bese sizolala maduzane.
Is that what you just said?
Yilokho okusho.
You didn't say that.
Awushongo lokho.
Not in those words.
Hayi ngalawo mali.
That's what this story said.
Kodwa ke ibali lisho kanjalo.
At midnight there was a cry made.
Uthi ebusuku ke kwaba nokukhala okuba khona.
You said the midnight cry is in the future.
Wena wathi ukukhala kungaphambili.
Okay? Anyone else?
Ngabe
Milton.
So, according to the parables and Ellen White, the midnight comes before, but Ellen White says
Oh, wait there. According to the parable and Ellen White,
it comes before,
the
but
midnight cry comes before what?
Masibuka umfanekiso ke no Ellen White.
in this context you are saying of the Sunday law, it comes before, but it has no power. It's gonna get power.
Right, so it comes before the Sunday law, according to Spirit Prophecy.
Yes.
Ukukhala kwasebusuku kuza noma kwandulela iSunday law mangasho.
And then after
Where'd you get that from?
Ukuthatha phi lokho?
Which book or model?
okay, I can just reflect the
You
question.
say you stop people. You say quote and you bamboozle them.
But I think after the Sunday law, the message will get power to get the impetus of the event, but it has begun before.
Okay, so we're going to get two cries.
It's the same
Sizofinyelela
cry,
lokho.
but you just get more power when the event is happening.
Okay? So you don't believe what Tina believes,
Awukholelwa yilokho thina kukholelwayo
that the loud cry or the midnight cry is in the latter rain period.
ukuthi ukukhala kuhambisana nemvula yokugcina.
Not that I disagree, but
You just did. Okay, so the reason why we're all in confusion or knots about this issue
Into eyenza ukuthi singavumelani ke ngalolu daba
is because of Ellen White.
ingenxa ka-Ellen White.
The way we approach her writings,
Indlela esiza ngayo kwifundo zakhe noma imibhalo yakhe
this kind of like piecemeal, like patchwork approach,
sibona ke okungafani kwemisebenzi noma indlela esiza ngayo emsebenzini wakhe
because you're going to run this logic.
ngoba uzoyibuka ngalo mqondo lona.
Milton's going to say,
Mhlawumbe uMilton uzoyibeka ngale ndlela.
Ellen White said,
U-Ellen White utheni?
the midnight cry came when?
Ukukhala kwasebusuku kuze nini?
1844.
Ngo-1844.
Long before any Sunday law.
Ngaphambi kokuba iSunday law yenzeke.
So there's your proof.
kukhona ubufakazi.
You can see how easy it is to prove that the midnight cry comes before the Sunday law.
Uyabona ukuthi kulula kanjani ukuthi uveze ukuthi ukhala wasebusuku kuza ngaphambi kweSunday law.
Depending on how you approach inspiration.
Kuya ukuthi uyibheka kanjani ke imibhalo.
So this is the problem that Adventism faces.
Yindlela ke noma inkinga ababanayo ke ama-Adventist.
And we have to be really clear,
Kumele sicace ngokuphelele,
really strict.
siqinisekise futhi
I'm going to say to the lines.
kwimigqa esinayo.
Because when you're strict to the lines, it makes you stand in contradiction to Alan White.
Ngoba mawumile ke emigqeni iyenza ukuthi uphambane ke nemibhalo kaWhite.
Because if you follow Ellen White, you just get into a mess.
Ngoba umulandela uWhite bese kuba khona ukuxokozela.
Because she uses imagery, I'm going to call it imagery,
Usebenzisa ukucabanga noma ukufanekisa
in a really ad hoc and random fashion.
ngendlela engajwayekile noma engaqondile nca.
So one day she'll say one thing, one model,
Ngesinye isikhathi uzoshenye into ngendlela ehlukile.
and 10 years later she'll use a different model.
Kweminyaka abayidlula ke bese ayisho ngenye indlela futhi leyo.
And it's complete confusion.
Bese lethu ukuxokozela.
And this is the problem that we have confronted in 1850.
Inkinga sesahlangabezana nayo ngo-1850 lena.
And we've tried to resolve the problem by creating several lines in Millerite history.
Sesazama ukulungisa ke le nkinga ukuthi kube nemigqa esiyenzayo ngesikhathi kaMillerite.
So we've already got how many Sunday laws in Millerite history, according to us?
Sibe namaSunday law ayingaki ke ngesikhathi kaMillerite ngokuya ngathi thina.
2? So I'm going to go with 2.5.
Sizothi amaSunday law amabili ke nengxenye yayo.
Sunday law in 1844,
iSunday law ke ngo-1844
which clearly does not exist.
engekho.
Then a Sunday law in 1850,
iSunday law siyibona futhi ngo-1850
which also clearly doesn't exist.
nayo engekho futhi.
And then some other one that never happened in the 1888 history.
Nenye engazange yenzeke ngo-1888.
And Alan White's not going to view things that way.
Wayena wathi ngeke abuke izinto ngaleyo ndlela.
So we have to be really careful how we approach her writings.
Kumele siqaphele indlela esibuka ngayo imibhalo yakhe.
So if you're going to be strict
Mangabe uzoma uqine
to the rules,
kwimthetho ekhona,
which I believe is our only safety,
engicabanga ukuthi isona siphephelo sethu,
you have to recognize, I think,
kumele ke uvume ngiyacabanga
that when Elder Jeff started talking about the latter rain before Sunday,
ukuthi umdala uJeff ngenkathi akhuluma ngomlayezo wokukhala ngaphambi kwesonto,
he made that up.
ukwenzile lokho.
It's not according to the rules.
Akuhambisani nemthetho, into azenzele yona yena.
There is no such thing as a pre-midnight cry before the Sunday law.
Ayikho into efana nokwandulela ke ukukhala ngaphambi kweSunday law.
You can't do this.
Awukwazi ukwenza kanje.
This is wrong.
Akuvumelekile lokho, awukwazi ukwenza kanje.
So we dealt with this in the movement a long time ago,
Sizamile ukuthi sikulungise ke ngaphambili ku-movement lokho.
and I can't remember the term, it's been so long.
Angisakhumbula igama esilisebenzisa sekuyisikhathi eside.
I know one of the words, I can't remember the other one, maybe someone can remember.
Elinye ngiyalukhumbula, elinye angikwazi ukulikhumbula, mhlawumbe khona olikhumbulayo.
It's the difference between progression
Umehluko wenqubekela phambili,
and I can't remember what the other one is.
angikhumbule elinye ukuthi liyini.
I'm just going to call it dispensation.
Ngizoyibiza ngesikhathi esihlukile.
So when you get lines
Mawubona imigqa,
and you cut the lines in specific places,
mawuyinqamula ke imigqa le ukuthi ingene endaweni ethize,
and if you don't cut it in the right place or you don't cut it,
ungayinqamuli ngendlela ekuyiyona noma ungayinqamuli inhlobo,
you get these progressive concepts which are wrong.
uthola inqubekela phambili ekungeyona.
So several people have already identified
Abantu abaningi sebakwazile ukubona
the midnight cry happens in which dispensation?
ukuthi ukukhala kwasebusuku kwenzeka ngasiphi isikhathi sona sona
Russell? Which dispensation?
ngabe isiphi isikhathi
Which the name, not the year.
cela ngiphi igama hayi unyaka
It's the Sunday law.
Sunday law.
So when people have done this amongst us just now,
Abantu mabenza lokhu
and they said there was this midnight cry in 2018,
mabathi bekhona ukukhala kwasebusuku ngo-2018
and they've tried to make it progressive,
bayenze kube inqobelela phambili leyo
it's not.
akusikho
It's a discrete history
umlando ofihlekile
that happened between 2014
owenzeka ngo-2014
and 2019.
phakathi kwa-2014 no-2019
And in this history,
kulo mlando lona
at midnight,
phakathi nobusuku
there was a loud cry,
waba khona ukumemeza okukhulu
which we call the midnight cry.
esikubiza ngokukhala kwasebusuku
And then that got repeated several times.
waphindeka-ke ikhathi ey'hlukene
And in the future, we're expecting another one.
ngaphambili bese silindele okunye
It's about how we handle the lines.
indlela esesihamba ngayo imigqa
So, on what basis did we say that the message of Elder Tess was the midnight cry? What did we have to believe?
yini emele siyikholelwe ukuze sifinyelele ekutheni umlayezo kamdala uthezi ukukhala kwasebusuku
Good. You have to believe that 2014 was the beginning of the Sunday Lord dispensation.
kumele ukholelwe ukuthi 2014 isikhathi-ke la sibona khona-ke Sunday law.
If you don't believe that,
uma ungakholwa lokho
you can't accept what she taught as the midnight cry.
awukwazi ukuvuma lo akufundisile yena njengokukhala kwasebusuku
Because the midnight cry is not designed to prepare you for the Sunday law.
ngoba ukukhala kwasebusuku akukhandelwanga ukuthi kulungiselele Sunday law.
If it was, we're in gross error.
uma ngabe bekunjalo-ke sisekulahlekeni okukhulu
Because we have no markers to identify what messages mean.
ngoba sinawo umugqa ozochaza ukuthi ithini imilayezo lena khona.
So, to call her message the midnight cry, you have to believe, as Sato just told us, that the Sunday law is already here,
ukuze sivume ukuthi ukukhala kwasebusuku-ke Sunday kumele sikholele ukuthi sekwenzekile.
and when did, we'll just call it the movement, naughty,
sizoyibiza nge-movement.
when did the movement know that we're in the Sunday law?
ngabe i-movement iyaze nini ukuthi sisesikhathini se-Sunday law?
No means agree, accept.
ukwala kusho ukuthi uvume.
We accept it. We're in the Sunday law.
ngabe samukele nini ukuthi sikuleso sikhathi se-Sunday law?
What the date, or the event, or some kind of...
ufuna-ke usuku noma isehlakalo.
Dates are good. We've got 2009. What's 2009?
ngabe kwenzakalani-ke ngo-2009?
Anybody? What's 2009?
ngabe khona ukukhaza?
Two 2005.
2005.
What's 2014?
ngabe uyi-2014.
Sunday law. We got that one. We've got to speak a bit louder because of the rain.
Sunday law.
That's Sunday law. What's 12?
U-12 ngabe uyini yena?
At the back.
emuva laphaya.
Louder because I won't hear you. What's the first word?
Prediction.
Prediction of the Sunday law. Someone had their hand up here? Did someone...
Formalization.
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 Formalization. Qala.
Formalization.
hamba ne-formalization.
And what's this dispensation here then?
Ngabe lesikhathi siyini ke?
You see that?
It's the one before the Sunday, the agitation.
So Justina said the agitation.
Yes.
Ukuthi ke
9?
2009 yena.
Sorry, louder. Increase of knowledge, is that what you're going to say?
Ukwanda kolwazi.
I wasn't my
There you go. We go with increase of knowledge.
So
Yes.
ukwanda kolwazi.
Okay, so 16 means what?
Isi-16 yena.
16 years. Increase of knowledge.
Increase of knowledge.
Yes.
Ukwanda kolwazi.
And 18 is what?
Formalization.
And I'll go with that one, close probation.
Yeah.
Ngizokubhala komusa yena 2019.
So when did the movement have an awareness that we're in the Sunday law?
Ubumbe ngabe ibone nini ukuthi sekukhona i-Sunday law?
Because if it's not before 2018,
Ngoba bangekho phambi kwa-2018
we're in trouble.
sisenkingeni ke.
We failed. The other
Go
day
ahead.
we failed.
Baqhubeka.
Who was around in this history?
Ubani bekhona ngalesikhathi?
Put your hands up if you was around in this history. How many?
Ngaphakamisa isandla uma ngokhona ngalesikhathi.
Like about 6 people. Most of you weren't here then.
We were in
Abantu
Europe.
abaningi futhi bebangekho-ke ngalesikhathi.
Okay, if you were here, when did you hear that we're in the Sunday law period?
Uma ngabe bowukhona uzwe nini ukuthi sisesikhathini se-Sunday law?
Homer said he never heard,
Thomas ukuthi azange ezwe yena.
and that's not a reflection upon him, it's a reflection upon, we'll say the movement, whoever they are.
Loba kuvesi yena kuvesi movement ngokuningi.
The other day we said. Maybe I'll go to you.
Okay, so there were some studies done in 2012 and 2014, but that wasn't a movement position.
Kukhona
Carry on.
ezenziwa ngo-2012 kuya 2014 kodwa ukusukuma kwe-movement.
But hold on, you're telling me that after the midnight cry,
Ongitshela ukuthi ngemva kokukhala kwasebusuku
we work out that we're in the Sunday law.
sabe siveza ukuthi siku-Sunday law.
Is that what you just said?
Ilokho okushilo.
Yep, everybody agree with that?
Ngabe siyavumelana nalokho.
Is that an historical fact?
Ngabe kuyiqiniso esilibonayo emlandweni lelo.
Anybody think that it isn't?
Khona ucabanga ukuthi akuyikona.
Okay, so 1 second, I'll just say the Sunday law message
Umlayezo ke we-Sunday law
is here.
ulana.
I put a question mark.
Ngifaka ke umbuzo lapho.
Because you can't have a midnight cry, the loud cry, even if you don't know there's a Sunday law.
Ngeke kube nokumemeza ke mangihambisani ke ne-Sunday law.
You're going to fix this or you're going to... Russell, Elton Russell.
Akusiza sikulungise lokho noma.
You remember very well. Or you don't remember well, I didn't know what you said.
Ukhumbula kahle.
Okay, I'm not sure. But I was,
Okay.
I think it was yeah, 2016 somewhere there. Or 20,
In 2016,
that is when I think the movement started accepting 2014.
that's when the movement accepted 2014.
Ngo-2016 la movement yaqala ukwamukela ke u-2014.
So Elder Jeff said, yep, 2014 was the Sunday law in 2016.
Umdala uJeff ngabe uvumile ukuthi i-Sunday law siyibona ngo-2014 akusho lokho ngo-2016.
And you agree?
Ngabe uyavuma?
Yeah, I think so. That's what he said. That's what the movement started saying. I think we were connected at
So 2014, there are studies happening. Sorry, 2016, there are studies happening that confirmed that 2014 was the Sunday law.
Ngo-2016 kuba ney'fundo ezibakhona ezifakazela ukuthi 2014 iyona Sunday law.
And when we say movement, we mean Elder Jeff
Masithi movement sichaza umdala uJeff phecelezi
or his team of
noma
teachers.
iqembu lakhe labantu abafundisayo.
Anybody familiar with that? So Elder Russell's disagreeing with Tato there.
Umdala uRussell akavumelani noThathu ngabe ukhona ubona ngenye indlela.
Yes?
Yeah, I think I also agree with Elder Russell. I also recall around 2015 as well.
And these studies were saying 2014 was the Sunday law.
Iy'fundo bezithi 2014 nge-Sunday law.
Correct?
Yes, 2014 was the Sunday. We were still trying to get evidence to show that it was Sunday law issues.
And what model were they using?
Indlela ebesetshenziswa yiphi yona?
There was the agricultural model at the time.
Not my studies. I'm talking about Elder Jeff.
Ngikhuluma-ke ngey'fundo zikaMdala uJeff, hhayi zami.
I don't recall, but let me just gather my thoughts.
You said because you said you agreed with him.
Ukuthi uyavumelana naye kodwa.
2018
Ngo-2018
in Arkansas,
e-Arkansas,
Elder Tess is giving her studies,
umdala uThezi uphana ngey'fundo zakhe.
and it's me who says this is the midnight cry.
Yimina engithi ukukhala kwasebusuku lokho.
And then I think people just accepted it,
Abantu bakwamukela-ke lokho.
or the pressure was just too much.
Ngoba ingcindezi bingaphezulu.
And even Elder Jeff got forced to agree with that
Nomdala uJeff waphoqeleka ukuthi akuvume lokho.
because he just kind of swept through the movement.
Ngoba-ke wahamba-ke ne-movement.
Okay, so I want to, unless you want to say something more about 2016.
Ngifisa ukuqhubeka kunalokho mhlawumbe khona ufuna ukusho ngo-2016.
So someone needs to give some more information.
Kumele kube khona ophana ngolwazi-ke olubani.
Oh, by the way, when does Elder Jeff accept time setting?
Umdala uJeff ngabe wamukela nini time setting?
2018.
2018, yes?
Yes.
Ngo-2018.
Just a couple of weeks, really, before Elder Tess gives her message.
Amaviki ambalwa phambi kokuthi umdala uThezi aphane ngomlayezo wakhe.
So he's not even accepted time setting.
Ngoba bekangamukelanga-ke i-time setting.
Russell. Oh, sorry, no, Milton.
So I just wanted to add that before 2018, even the models of the lines were still confusing. But in 2018, Elder just corrected the structure and the pattern of the lines. So it became clear because we could not even come up with consistent lines in the established frameworks. So she had to remodel the structure and confirm that this is how we structure them, and we put the 5 distances, the 4 distances in a consistent manner.
So before 2018,
Ngaphambi ko-2018
we had lines,
besinemigqa
but they were not holistic, they were not consistent.
bingahambisani ngendlela ekuyiyona.
And they didn't have clarity,
Beyingekho incazelo.
which means they were not simple and repeatable.
Bengekho lula, bengekho iphindaphinde futhi.
And part of the work that Elder Tess did was to straighten or correct all of that.
Ingxenye yomsebenzi eyenziwa umdala uThezi ukuthi alungise lokho kwenzeka.
And that was all part of the Midnight Cry message.
Bekuyingxenye yomlayezo wokukhala kwasebusuku.
In connection with that,
Okuxhumana nalokho,
after she gave that cry,
ngemva kokuthi aphane ngokukhala lokho,
she then went back, as we were told, to explain and defend that we're in the Sunday law.
wasehamba-ke ufundisa abonisa-ke ukuthi sisesikhathini se-Sunday law.
Okay, so we agreed that she gave the midnight cry,
Siyavuma ukuthi uphane-ke ngokukhala kwasebusuku.
and we agreed that of what conceptually the characteristics of the midnight cry is.
Siyabona ukuthi kuyavela-ke okuveza ukuthi kuyini-ke ukukhala kwasebusuku.
But what I want to remind us
engifisa sikukhumbule ilokhu
is that the cry
ukuthi ukukhala
is given in the latter rain period in the Sunday law.
kuvela ke ngesikhathi semvula yokugcina ke ngesikhathi kuyisikhathi seSunday law.
It's not designed to prepare you for the Sunday law.
Akwenzekanga ukuthi mawukulungiselele Sunday law.
And in that sense,
Ngalo mqondo lowo
whatever 2018 was,
noma ngabe bekwenzakalani noma kuyini 2018
and the two waymarks that follow it,
imigqa emibili elandelayo siyibonayo
they don't meet the standard of being the loud cry,
akufinyelele ezingeni lokuthi kube ukumemeza okukhulu
the one that we're expecting in the future.
lo sikulindele ngephambili.
So, in the past, in a very disrespectful or flippant way, I've said they're fake.
Ngamuva bengisho ngendlela edelelayo ukuthi kuyimbumbulu.
Because I want to make the point that they're not the real thing, and we should not consider them that way.
Bengifisa ukusho ukuthi akusiyinto eyiqiniso noma siyibuye ngaleyo ndlela.
Because when the split happened in 2019, what were FFA teaching?
Ngenkathi kuba khona ukuhlukana ngo-2019 FFA beyifundisa ukuthini yona.
Because they believed this line that we have on the board,
Ngoba bebakholela umugqa lo esinawo la ebhodini.
and they made 2019 a test,
Benza ke ukuthi 2019 kube isivivinyo
saying what?
ukuthi
So literal closure of probation
bathi ukuvala komusa wona ngqo
for the priests.
kubapristi.
By the way, this is a repeat of what they did back when.
Kuyimpinda lena abayenzile ngasiphi isikhathi
9/11.
At 9/11.
ngo-9/11.
So sometime after 9/11, when they began to work out what 9/11 meant,
Isikhathi esimuva ngathi bazama ukusebenza ukuthi 9/11 ube yini.
and we began to teach, there was a change of leadership.
Ufundisa ukuthi kuba khona ushintsho ke
Is that what you said?
kubaholi abakhona.
Yeah, someone said leadership? Yeah, there's a change of leadership from the leaders of Adventism to the leaders of this movement.
Bekhona ushintsho ke kubaholi abakhona sisuka ku-Adventist kuza kubuholi be-movement.
They picked up a phrase from Ellen White. She used the word, the leadership was bypassed.
Masebenzisa ke okukhona ke ku-Ellen White bathi ke udluliwe lobuholi obunye.
Set aside.
Babekele eceleni.
And they used those ideas
Basebenzisa leyo mqondo
to suggest that leading pastors in the SDA church had closed their probation.
basebenzisa umqondo ukuthi abafundisi abaholayo ku-SDA yenkonzweni babhale umusa wabo bona ngokwabo.
And that idea was rejected,
Lowo mqondo wanqatshwa
at least by some of us.
mhlambe ngabanye bethu.
And we taught that way against what the angel was teaching.
Safundisa ngaleyo ndlela okuphambene nalokho ingilosi ebeyikufundisa.
I say we, but it's mostly me.
Uzothi thina kodwa ngichaza ukuthi mina.
And then they did the same thing in 19, by the way.
Bayenza okufanayo ke ngo-19.
And some of us on this side of the split actually believed that too. They bought into that idea.
Abanye bethu ngenkathi esihlukene sakholelwa kulowo mqondo lowo.
So I want us to be clear. That's why I use that term faith.
Ngifuna usicacele ingakho ngisebenzisa ke lelo gama lithi imbumbulu.
And that's why some of us believe
Ingakho abanye bethu bekholwa ukuthi
that this midnight cry message was to prepare us for the Sunday law.
ukuthi ukukhala kwasebusuku bekwenzela ukuthi kusilungiselele iSunday law.
So conceptually it was, of course,
Ngokomqondo ngavuma ngithi kunjalo bekunjalo.
but we need to handle the lines carefully, and some of us don't.
Kodwa kumele siqaphele indlela esebenzisa ngayo imigqa abanye bethu abakwenzi lokho.
So we've spoken about the ministry of Elder Tess.
Sikhulumile ke ngokusebenza kaMdala uThesa.
We've spoken about the midnight cry,
Sikhulumile ke ngokukhala kwasebusuku.
and we're in Revelation 14:9.
Masiya ku-Revelation 14:9.
With a loud voice, if any person worships the beast and his image and receives the mark in his forehead, he shall be punished.
ngezwe elikhulu kuthiwa mangabe khona ukhonza isilo ke noma alamukele isilo esandleni uzojeziswa.
I actually want you to draw just that line, how you put on midnight cry, or the correct way of looking at that. Please.
So I'm going to go with what Russell taught us just a minute ago, because I think he said it.
Uzohamba naloku umdala uRussell sifundisa kona emzuzunyana ezidlule.
You said that this was midnight.
Uthi lokhu
Yes?
phakathi nobusuku.
So he says, Sunday law is midnight.
Wathi ke Sunday law iphakathi nasebusuku.
There's a loud cry or a cry at midnight.
Kunokukhala noma ukubemeza kwasebusuku.
Long before the Elder Test came, we realized that midnight was different to the midnight cry. There were two things. We split those.
Ngaphambi kokuba umdala utheza afike besihlukanisa uphakathi kwebusuku nokukhala kwasebusuku sithi izinto ezimbili ezingafani.
And then there was an increase of knowledge.
Kwase kuba nokwanda kolwazi.
Is that correct?
Ngabe siyavumelana ngalokho?
Does that help?
Thank you, please.
When does the third angel do this?
Ngabe ingilosi yesithathu ikwenza nini lokho?
Third angel followed them
Ingilosi yesithathu yabalandela
and had loud voices.
ngezwi ke elikhulu.
When's this message being given?
Lo mlayezo unikezwa nini?
And the two finish.
Sorry? At the midnight cry.
Ngesikhathi sokukhala kwasebusuku.
Anyone else?
Ngabe ukhona omunye?
Anybody disagree or got other thoughts?
Ngabe ukhona ongavumelani noma oneminye imiqondo?
So, do we agree that this message is being given during the Sunday law period?
Ngabe siyavumelana ukuthi lo mlayezo uphiwa ngesikhathi seSunday law?
Yes?
Yebo.
If that's the case,
Mangabe kunjalo,
does Elder Tessie's placement in history
kunala simbeka khona ke emlandweni umdala utheze.
fit the model that we've just said?
Uhlala kule ndlela esesayenza manje.
Does she come at the right time with the right message?
Ngoba uza ngesikhathi kuyisona ngomlayezo kuwona futhi.
Yes? So we put her here?
Yebo, so sizombeka la.
So, if that's the case,
Mangabe kunjalo,
how does she qualify to be the third angel now?
yini emenza fanele ukuthi abe ingilosi yesithathu khona manje?
Which is what almost everybody here has taught or said.
Ngoba wonke umuntu usho kanjalo noma bakholwa yilokho.
Are we just going to get the message of 2018
Noma sithatha umlayezo ka-2018
and import that into our present time?
bese sikuletha esikhathini sethu samanje.
We can do that.
Singakwenza yini lokho?
Tata?
Okay, so what we did, the line which you put up there is the line of the 154.
This one? Or earlier?
Yes, Sunday law.
Okay, this one.
Yes, yes. But it was removing
The dates.
Yeah,
Okay.
those dates. So what had happened then? That line we took it from Ellen White.
We took this line from Ellen White.
Sithatha ke lo mugqa ku-Ellen White.
So what happened is that for us to understand it, maybe properly or something, so for us to understand this line, we decided to go into fractals.
So in order to understand this line that's given to us, we went into fractals.
Ukuze sikwazi uku-understanda noma sivisise lo mugqa lona sesaya kuma-fractal.
And then also what we did is that we created a group of people, groups of people.
And then we developed three groups of people, priests, Levites, Nephilims, to help us to decode this and explain things.
Seza nabantu abahlukile sithi amapriest amalevite namanethims ukuthi basize ukuthi sikwazi ukuchaza lokho noma sikwenze kube lula.
Then this is when we come to making the Sunday Law 2014, 2016 about that line.
So that's how we create this line here. We're okay with that?
Indlela esikhande ngayo lo muntu lo.
Sorry?
Associating it with the line of the priest.
Yes, so this here, what I've started is the line of the priests.
And then in there, that's when we get the midnight cry after 2014.
Okay, so maybe go a bit faster, but you're just explaining that what we've already done.
Alright. And then, so with also the third angel coming, we see that we even made the angel's message to be in fractals or like that way.
So we've fractalized the messages of the angels. Okay?
Yeah, that's the.
Oh, we've got the angels' messages and we've turned them into fractals.
Sithole imilayezo ke ingilosi sabe siyiqhamulela ke.
Go ahead.
No, that's the point that making to the question you're asking. Making that says the angel's message coming in.
Did everybody understand that?
Ngabe siyabuzwa lo wakusho.
They're looking black-faced.
Okay, that's the way
Okay?
I understand it.
Maybe we're struggling to understand what Tato is saying.
Mhlawumbe sizwisisi kahle ukuthi uThando usho ukuthini.
If I take his logic,
If we take Tato's logic,
Mangabe uthatha umqondo kaThando,
then we haven't come, we're still waiting, we're in the dispensation of the midnight cry. That means that we're still waiting, or the third angel is at this stage busy giving the message, so it's not elder test.
so Kobe said if you use Tato's logic, Elder Test isn't the third angel, someone else would be.
Ngoba suthi masingabe sithatha umqondo kaThando umdala utheza kasi ingilosi yesithathu.
Before you speak, but I think Tato's logic was to defend the Elder Test is the third angel today.
Kodwa umqondo kaThando bengicabanga ukuthi umele ukuthi umdala utheza uyena ingilosi yesithathu asibona.
I think that was his point, even though you're saying he hasn't done that.
Bekuyilona phuzu lakhe lelo.
You want to say something more?
Because he took that line that ends at 2019.
He takes the line of the priests.
Thathi la nabapristi.
That ends at 2019.
Yep, it ends in 2019.
Then there has to be a line, because this is not the close of probation for mankind.
So he knows that's not the close of probation for mankind.
So if he's going to put that other line on,
So if he's going to put the line of the 144,000 here,
then there needs to be another person that gives the midnight or night cry.
so his argument was the person who gives the fractal message is the same person who gives the real message.
Uthi ke umuntu obekanqamulela imigqa umuntu ophana ngemigqa yona ngokwayo.
I think that's what his argument was.
Yikho lokho ibekayo kusho.
Do I understand correctly? No.
Because the Lord cry has not come. Because the Lord cry has not come. So whoever who gives the message here is not okay. No. Let me try to get my thoughts clear and I'll come back.
Okay? Tata?
I try to understand what I say. Is that in the fractals, what we have in the fractals, the angels are within the fractals, but we have not had, we are not having yet the third angel on the deep.
So angels are within the fractal, and
All the three angels that which we have spoken about, they are actually existing within fractal lines, not
So the angels we were spoken about were specific to that fractal line. We've got that. So what happens to this line here, the 144,000 one?
To follow what Thomas is saying, that means the test is not the angel, because we are still waiting for the dead.
Is that what you were trying to say, Tata? Is that what you were trying to say?
See, that's what you're saying.
I thought you were trying to say something opposite.
Oh, you were saying this.
What I was trying to say is, because already we are in the line of the 144, and basically the time of the end. So
I'm not asking you to go into the details, just tell us, are you saying because Elder Tess was a fractal angel, she is the angel on the big line too? Is that what your argument was?
that's why actually I'm confused.
Okay.
But I was thinking that if we going to do fractals, should we then also fractalize the angels as well? It's actually the question.
Okay, so it's turned into a question. Online, so that there are two tatos. That's so people don't know that online when they listen to this. But you agree with Cobus that after 4 or 5 studies later that we need a new third angel.
Avuyavumelana noKobus ukuthi siyadinga ingilosi yesithathu.
Okay, I don't want to put words in your mouth.
I just think his logic that he gave.
Tell me your logic. Tell me your logic.
Ngondo wakho wena.
How do you make Elder Tess still the third angel?
I did not.
You can't?
Not according to this.
When you say this, is like, have I done something funny?
No, according to the line that's on the board.
Okay, so you think that, so you're going to, I think at the beginning of this study you said she's the third angel, all sorted out, but perhaps now she isn't.
Obokushilo mhlawumbe ukuthi ingilosi yesithathu kodwa mhlawumbe akasiyo manje.
We're not worried about 2018 anymore, we're worried about 2024 and moving forward.
Asikhathazekanga ngo-2018 manje sikhathazeke ngo-2024 nokuya phambili.
According to the model that we've got, the midnight cry message are given after the Sunday.
So we're hopefully all in agreement now, as Cobus has reminded us, the loud cry, some people call it the midnight cry, happens after, I'm going to call it a Sunday law. Has to happen afterwards.
Ukumemeza kwenzeka ngemva kweSunday law.
And the loud cry is synonymous with the latter rain. There can be interchangeable terms.
Ukukhala kwasebusuku kuyahambisana ke nokukhala esingathi cishe kuyahambisana noma amagama ahambisanayo.
They can mean the same thing at a certain level.
Lawo magama angachaza into efanayo kwesinye isikhathi mhlawumbe.
Carry on.
We are now determining the real date of this Sunday.
We're now determining the waymark and the date for the Sunday law for the 144,000.
Sibheka ke manje usuku nenkombandlela yeSunday law.
The real one, I think you said.
Yona phecelezi.
So in a future date, we need the midnight cry, loud cry for the Sunday.
So sometime in the future there will be a loud cry. You agree with that?
Kwesikhathini esizayo soba ke nokumemeza okukhulu.
And Tina and I will be asleep.
Mina noThina ngabe sobesilele.
And someone else is going to wake us up.
Khona bazosivusa ke mhlawumbe.
We agreed with that.
Siyavumelana ngalokho.
Okay? Anyone else?
Ngabe khona.
Tina? Which tattoo do you agree with? The one that's confused or the one that's not confused?
The confused
He
one.
says he's confused, so you agree with that?
Before he got confused, I agree with what he was saying before.
What was he saying before?
So what he was saying before is that the midnight cry is
A fractal?
it's a fractal, and we should see it also in the line of the 144,000. And I believe that the person who gave the midnight cry in the line of the praise in the fractals should be the same person who gives the loud cry in the line of the 100.
So you believe the angel that gives the fractal message gives the real message?
Yes.
And you thought that's what he was saying?
Yeah, that's what he was.
Yeah, that's what you thought he was. I thought he was saying the same thing, but then he said he wasn't sure.
Yeah, so I believe that they should be elaborating for a loud cry.
Okay, so I guess the problem with that is what? What's the problem with that?
inkinga ngalokho ukuthi
Listen.
To affect also the pattern of how we establish the first stage and the second.
Okay, so it's going to it's going to affect the way we establish the first and the second angel.
kuzolimaza indlela esesabuka ngayo ingilosi yokuqala nengilosi yesibili.
Okay, so there's a problem there. Anything else?
Sinenkinga lapho ngabe khona ukuthi
What's the problem in the movement today? Let's think about that to make your point.
yini inkinga ekhona emovementini manje cabanga ngalokho.
Let me stop there.
Lapho
According to what you just said,
ngalokho kushilo
Elder Tess is here.
umdala uthezwe lana
Former rain,
imvula yokuqala
latter rain,
imvula
Sunday law.
yokugcina usunday law ngapho
So, in the line of the 144,000,
emugqeni we-144,000
Elder Tess's message is the message of preparation.
umlayezo kabudala uthezwe umlayezo wokulungiselela.
And in the line of the priests,
emugqeni wamapristi
Elder Tess is here,
umdala uthezwe lana
and it's the loud cry.
ukumemeza okukhulu.
Yeah, okay?
So I was wondering if in the line of the preacher could be a third messenger, and in the line of the 144,000 could be the second.
So, you want to make her now the second angel,
ufisa ukumenza ingilosi yesibili manje
because when we started off, I know it sounded funny, but I didn't mean for it to be. When we started here,
ngathi iqala lana
this was not a fractal study.
bekunganqamulelwanga ke lana.
I think I was pretty clear on that.
Ngiyacabanga ukuthi bekucacile lokho.
This was the 144,000, the real Revelation 14 angels.
Beka ke uRevelation 14 ke umugqa wona wona.
And I'll just say you, along with everyone else, was pretty firm about who number 1, 2 and 3 were.
Ngizothi wena ngibala abanye abantu ngokuqinisekile ukuthi number 1, number 2 no number 3 bangobani.
And now,
Kodwa manje
4 studies later, I think it is,
ngemva kweyifundo ezine
you're changing your mind,
ushintsha umqondo wakho.
which is serious
Kubucayi ke lokho kakhulu.
for me,
Ngendlela mina ngibona ngayo.
because I just lost my job.
Ngoba ngumsebenzi wami ulahlekele umsebenzi wami.
Maybe it's a relief I got fired.
Mhlawumbe ngixoshiwe ngizokhululeka xa lokho.
That's what you just did, yes?
Yinto bese wayenza manje ngithi.
Fired me? Sorry? Yeah, that's fine. So she said yes. I'm now looking for a new job.
Vele ngifuna umsebenzi manje.
It's good to laugh and be fun, but it's obviously, I'm talking seriously. If you're going to change something like that, it has ripple effects.
Kuhle ukuhleka kodwa ibucayi kakhulu lento lesikhuluma ngayo manje.
Data. We're running out of time, so do it quickly. I'm going to be in trouble. So the movement's going to give the loud cry,
Ngabe movement izophana ke ngokumemeza okukhulu
and before Tess gave the loud cry.
ngaphambi kokuthi ezaphane ngokumemeza okukhulu.
Okay? Okay. So, does the third angel give the loud cry?
Ngabe ingilosi yesithathu iphana ngokumemeza okukhulu.
So, we're the third angel.
Siyingelosi yesithathu.
Tato.
No, Tato's
Mbuzo
logic.
uthathu.
So we've now become the third angel.
Sesibe ingelosi yesithathu thina sonke.
I can keep my job. Mate, no, I still can't because Elder Tess was... Anyway, we'll leave that there. Oh, over here.
Okay, I just need to ask, I need to ask what has just been said. Say the third angel is the last man.
Is it so? Does the third angel give the loud cry?
Ngabe ingelosi yesithathu iphanda ngomemeza omkhulu.
I'm going to not comment on that.
Angeke ngisho lutho ke mayelana nalokho.
I don't think it's that straightforward.
Angicabangi ukuthi kuqondile lo.
And we don't have enough time.
Asinaso isikhathi esanele.
Okay, this last question, then I'll
Umbuzo
make some
wokugcina
final thoughts.
bese ngiyaqedelela.
Yeah, so following Carlos' point, what I'm getting is that so the fractal, like one said, the instrumental was because to establish maybe the third angel. So then to your question now, what I want to ask about the actual midnight message on the line that I talk about. I'm thinking, this is what I'm saying. I'm thinking like there's a fourth angel.
You thinking there's what angel?
There's a fourth angel.
Fourth angel. Where's that?
Ingelosi yesine ibonakala
Sorry?
In the actual line, under the proposal line.
Yeah, but you've got to find one in scripture. So Revelation 18 is what angel? Second angel. Most people here are saying. It's not fourth angel. It doesn't even help us with the third one. I don't think that's going to help. So, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to summarise because I'm already late.
kuzomele ngifingqa isikhathi esingishayile.
We began this study by speaking of why I'm not throwing my weight or my opinion or my acknowledgement of Elder Terry's studies.
Siqalekele sifundo ukuthi why ngingabeki impondo yami noma indlela engibona ngayo ngiyifunde ezenziwe umdala uTherry.
And I didn't quite say it this way.
Azange ngiyibeke ngale ndlela yona.
But the question is, why would I?
Umbuzo bewukuthi ngizokwenzelani lokho.
And in our discussion, we said that the role of angels is to give a message and to protect the flock.
Ingxoxo zethu bewukuthi umsebenzi wengilosi ukuthi uphande ngomlayezo bese uvikela ke umhlambi.
For members who give private studies.
Kubantu abaphana ke ngezifundo ngasese.
So we went through the 2012 to 14 history.
Sisaya kumlando ka2012 kuya ku2014
and we saw what happened there.
Sasisibona ukuthi kwenzakaleni lapho.
When the angel engaged with a member.
Masisibona ingilosi ihlangana nelungu.
A member who used the angel's message
ilunga elathatha umlayezo kwingilosi
to create some new information.
Ekwakhandeka ngayo umlayezo omusha.
And the angel fought with the member.
Ingilosi yasilwisana ke nalelunga elikhona.
And the message was therefore squashed.
Umlayezo wahlakazeka ngaleyo ndlela.
And I asked what your obligation was in that history.
Ngabuzwa ukuthi yini ebeniphoqeleke ukuthi nikwenze ngaleso sikhathi.
And I hope we're all clear.
Ngiyathemba ukuthi bekucacele sonke.
That your duty and obligation was to follow the angel, not the member.
Ukuthi umsebenzi wenu nokuphoqeleke bebenikwenza ukuthi nilandele ingilosi ningalandeli ilunga ebelikhona.
Now there are some elements to that history which are slightly different to this history.
Khona bekhona kulowo mlando bekuhlukile kunalo mlando khona manje.
But there are elements that are very similar.
Kodwa khona ukuhambisanayo ke masibheka siyaphambili.
For instance,
mangafanekisa.
The member asked Elder Jeff, I'm doing this study, what do you think?
Ilunga lelabuza ke umdala uJeff ukuthi ngenza lesifundo ucabangani wena?
Guess what Elder Jeff said?
Cabanga ukuthi uyathini umdala uJeff?
Threat? Error.
uthe inkohliso.
No, he actually didn't say it was error. He said, go for it.
Akasho kanjalo uthe qhubeka nayo.
When we spoke privately.
Kodwa bakhulume ngasese.
That when the message started to go public,
Ithe ke mayivela sobala, bekayivela sobala ke umlayezo lona.
either he or his friends or his relatives
Yena noma abangani bakhe noma labazalana nabo
began to become afraid of that message
base beqala ukusaba lo mlayezo lona
because they felt it was attacking what?
ngoba bebona ngathi uhlasela ini?
The truth
Iqiniso
or the person?
noma umuntu.
The person.
Babona ngathi uhlasela umuntu.
Throughout our history, the interplay between doctrine and interpersonal conflict has always been there.
Masibuke emlandweni wethu kube nokuxokozela noma ingxabano phakathi kokufundiswayo nomuntu masibuke isipho sakhe.
So it didn't take him long
azange umthathe isikhathi eside
to just stand up and say, this is error.
uthi ame athi inkohliso yonke lento.
Part of the problem back then is YouTube and the internet wasn't as freely available as it is now.
Inkinga beyikhona leso sikhathi ukuthi i-YouTube ne-internet bezingavelanga noma bezingalulanga ukuthi itholakale njengamanje.
So that message wasn't made available or visible to the movement.
Lo mlayezo azange uvele sobala noma azange uvele kalula ke ku-movement.
And me being really obedient, I ended up teaching that message.
Mina njengomuntu obekehloka-dlebe ngayeka ukufundisa lowo mlayezo.
And there was this disfellowship that I spoke about.
Ngase ngiqunywa ke ngiyakhumbula ngasikhuluma lokho.
So, we're in this history now.
Sikulo mlando lona khona manje.
Before Elder Terry's going to say, oh, I've got this study I want to share with the movement about the Sunday law.
Ngaphambi kokuba umdala uTheri athi nginesifundo ngifuna ukuchazela ngayo Sunday law.
What did she do? What should she do?
Yini ayenzile?
Come to you. Come to you. Ask.
She asked.
Uyacela imvumo.
And I said, go ahead.
Ngathi kuyena qhubeka.
So, I want to see the parallel. I want to see the parallel between that history and this history.
Ngifuna ukubheka ukuhambisana kulo mlando odlule nomlando wamanje.
So, just because I say go ahead,
ngoba ngithe qhubeka,
does that mean I fully understand the message?
Ngabe kusho ukuthi ngiyazwisisa ngokuphelele umlayezo?
No.
Cha.
So, the problem arises
inkinga ivela
of who Elder Terry is.
Uthi ngabe ubani umdala uTheri?
Whether or not she's a member,
noma ngabe uyilunga,
which means she needs permission.
Okusho ukuthi udinga imvumo.
And somebody's going to end up saying yes or no to that study.
Kuzoba khona ogcina ethi uyavuma noma akavumi kuleso sifundo leso.
People are expecting it to be my job.
Abantu bacabanga ukuthi kumele kube umsebenzi wami.
So I'm some angel.
Njengoba ngiyingilosi.
Or,
noma,
without you realizing it,
ungazange uqaphele wena,
she's suddenly become an angel.
Uvese waba ingilosi nayo.
And then the dynamics are very different.
Bese kuyahluka ukwenza ke noma kuyashintsha ukwenza.
And it's only a short camp meeting, it's a big issue.
Masifika yonke meeting sibona inkinga lenkulu abakhona.
And maybe it will take some time before we work out that answer.
Kuthatha isikhathi ukuze sifinyelele empendulweni.
So what do we do in the meantime?
Ngesikhathi sisazama ukwenza lokho senzani.
The three groups or people in this story.
Kunengxenye zabantu abathathu ke kule bali.
Who are they?
Bangobani?
Someone say priest. There's us.
Members.
Who's us?
Members.
Not the movement.
The members.
There's the members.
Khona amalunga.
The angel.
There's the angel.
Khona ingilosi.
And then there's Elder Terry.
Kunomdala uTheri.
Okay, so they're the three elements.
Wokuthatha sikubonayo.
What is Elder Terry required to do
ngabe
now?
kumele ukuthi enzeni manje umdala uthira?
Christina, what's she required to do now?
To hold on, I think.
To wait.
To wait, yeah.
Mela linde.
You agree to wait?
Ngabe uyavuma ukuthi alinde?
Russell? Okay. What should she be doing now?
Yini mela yenze manje?
Just tell me what she should be doing now.
Utshela into mela yenze manje.
Message is not giving any commands. What should she do now?
Hold on until it's verified.
Sorry? She's already asked for permission. She asked ages ago. It was given. So you say she has to wait. So wait.
Sithi mela linde.
Anyone else?
Akukhona omunye.
So you're saying she should cease teaching the Sunday law message?
Ngenye indlela nithi makamise ukufundisa uSunday law message.
The three people said that. That's what wait means.
Abantu abathathu basho kanjalo ukulinda kusho lokho.
Yes? Okay?
Okay, if ever she already asked and then the permission was to say, go ahead,
Go ahead, because it was given before. Over here.
Uthaqhubeka.
Erica, you said?
I said, no, she should not wait.
She should not wait. She should ignore everybody and do her thing. That's what you say?
Uthakayeka wonke umuntu akayenza into yakhe.
Yes.
Okay?
The question in my mind is she a member?
Yeah,
Or
that's
is she an angel?
angel.
We've already answered that question
Sesiphendulile lo mbuzo.
of whether she's an angel or a member.
Ukuthi uyilunga noma uyingilosi.
The answer was this.
Impendulo bekuthi
If she is an angel,
mangabe uyingilosi
we don't know it yet.
asazi okwamanje.
So, angel or not,
Mangabe uyingilosi noma cha
we have to treat her as a member.
kumele simphathe njengelungu.
And to me, that's the parallel of 12 to 14.
Lokho kuhambisana no-12 no-14.
And that's why I'm saying she should be treated as a member
Yingakho kumele ngithi kumele aphathwe njengelunga
until proven otherwise.
kuze kube khona ubufakazi.
And as a member, what is her obligation?
Njengelunga yini okumphoqelelayo ukuthi akwenze.
If we use that parallel, then we have to learn from that parallel as well. That Sunday law message was the correct message.
But waiting is not.
There've been many Sunday law messages
Kuvele ke imithetho noma ama-Sunday law amaningi imlayezo yakhona.
So I'm not prepared to say if that was the true one, that means this is the true one.
Yeah.
Angizimiselanga ukuthi ngithi leyani iqiniso noma lena iqiniso yonke.
Okay, I'm going to stand up next week in my next camp meeting
Ngizoma ke kukhe meeting elandelayo next week.
because I've already worked out the answer,
Ngoba ke impendulo sengize nayo.
and I'm going to show you that what she's teaching is error.
Ngizonibonisa ukuthi into ayifundisayo iyinkohliso.
Okay? All good?
Ngabe siyavumelana? Erica,
what does she do now?
kumele enzeni manje?
But
Teach or not teach?
Afundise noma angafundisi.
So she rebels against me.
no, she doesn't.
Kumele aphikisane nami.
Yes, she does. I said, don't do it. She said, I'm going to do it anyway.
Uthe angakwenzi kodwa uzokwenza noma kunjalo.
Okay, I didn't know that you already said her don't do that.
I haven't told her yet. Next
Bengakamtsheli.
week.
Kuvike lizayo
Next
ngizomtshela.
week, I'm going to go public saying it's error. I'm going to show the error. And what's her obligation now?
Ngevike lizayo ngizothi kuyinkohliso bese ngiyayibonisa inkohliso yini azophoqelela ukuthi akwenze ke manje.
I still believe her message correct, so she must go on.
So, because you think you're cleverer than me,
Mawucabanga ukuthi uhlakaniphile kunami.
and I'm going to say, no, I've proven it's wrong, you're going to say, I don't care what you believe, I believe her.
Ngithi ngilese ubufakazi ukuthi akusikona wena ukuthi akunandaba kodwa ngiqhubeka.
Prove it to me.
Next week.
Ngevike lizayo.
Should wait.
Okay, so if I persuade you,
Mangabe ngiyabonisa ke
and fighting against angels is a dangerous occupation,
Yes, I believe.
ngibonisa ukuthi kunobungozi obukhona la.
What's her obligation?
yini ophoqeleke ukuthi ukwenze?
To protect the message.
I'm the one protecting the message.
No, I mean,
She's challenging it.
Omdala uyena ovikela.
What's her job? Silence or fight?
Yini umsebenzi wakhe ukulwa noma ukuthi athule?
Go on. What happens in the previous history?
Kwenzakaleni?
Silence.
Sorry?
Fight. It was fighting. The previous message.
Give the short version.
So, when we get to this Sunday law, which is the main Sunday law on the line of the 144, and it's the Sunday law that she is saying is the Sunday law. So, according to that,
What's she supposed to do?
Yini mina yenza?
like she has to, because
Sorry?
according to what we have
You tell me if she has to obey me or rebel. Put your hands up if she should rebel.
Phakamisani izandla manithi kumele aphikisane nami.
Okay, 3 people out of around 100.
Abantu abathathu.
Put your hands up if she should obey.
Phakamisa izandla mawuthi kumele alalele
Most people.
abantu abaningi.
So back in 12,
Ngesikhathi sa 2012
when they said, be silent,
nkathi kuthiwa thula,
what did that member say?
lelo lunga lenze njani?
No.
Lathi cha.
And they said, if you don't, we'll disfellowship you.
Mawungakwenzi lokho sizokunquma.
And the member said, bring it on.
Ilunga lathi ke qhubeka.
Seems to me
Kubonakala kimi
that Elder Terry
umdala uTheri
is required
kumele
to follow her conscience.
ukuthi alandele indlela abona ngayo.
And that's just Reformation theology.
Incazelo nje engiyibonisayo.
You've all read hundreds of times.
Esiyifundile isikhathi esiningi.
When I call Luther up and I say submit
Ngathi ngibizwe raphithi ke makalalele
against your conscience,
okuphambene naloko okukholwayo,
and he says
wathi yena
it's not safe to do that.
akuphephanga ukwenza lokho.
So she is obliged to give the message
Uphoqelekile ukuthi awunikeze umlayezo
whether I like it or I don't.
noma ngabe ngiyawuthanda noma ngiwuthanda.
We're okay with that?
Ngabe siyavumelana nalokho.
Now you,
Manje wena
what are you obliged to do?
yini uphoqeleke ukuthi ukwenze?
Follow me or follow her?
Ulandela yena noma ulandela mina?
I'll make it simple. Follow me,
Ngizokwenza kube lula, landela mina.
not her.
Hayi yena.
She protects the flock, isn't it? I don't know anymore.
we have once the choice to follow which angel, and we make that
She's not an angel. She's a member.
It wasn't an angel before her.
Sorry?
It wasn't an angel before her, it was the truth before her.
How do you know what the truth is?
Wazi kanjani ukuthi kwenza kuyini?
You believe her spin story as opposed to an angel that's been around for decades, understands the message intimately,
Sesabona ingilosi eyayilandela umlayezo.
and inspiration tells you who you're supposed to follow.
Nombhalo uyakutshela ukuthi kumele ulandele bani futhi.
She's not the shepherd of the flock. The angel
Akasizi
is.
umholi wemhlambi.
The sheep hear no other voice.
Izimvu zazi elinye ilizwi.
You are doomed to your fate to obey me.
Uyaphoqeleka ngalokho
No, I don't want to say
ukukholelwayo.
me, the angel. Angel.
Ingilosi mangathi mina.
You have no other obligation.
Akukho uliphoqeleke ukuthi ukwenze.
All those members are saying, we're pro Elder Terry.
Laba abanye amalungu athi sihambisana nomdala uTheri.
You can do that.
Ningakwenza lokho
Why?
ngoba
Because the angel affords you that liberty.
ingilosi livumele ukuthi nikwenze lokho.
Okay. So me, not me, the angel.
Mina kodwa ingathi mina ingilosi
I already lost my job.
ngakelo umsebenzi wami.
What's the angel's obligation?
Ngabe iphoqeleke ukuthi yenzeni ingilosi?
To let people use their
Sorry?
liberty.
to protect the flock,
ivikela umhlambi,
And to let them use their consciences.
it's in front of you.
Yeah.
Protect the flock. No, but in front of you, my friend. To protect the flock and the message.
ukuvikela umhlambi ke nomlayezo.
What else?
Akukhona umuntu.
But the problem is, one message there, you may have the opposition of their message.
So if I say that's a bad message, then I have to come up with a new one. Or an alternative.
Noma ngize nomunye.
Okay, so we really are out of time. What I want to say is that I think my responsibility, you've all seen what I'm actually doing,
Engakusho ukuthi ekumele ngikwenze noma engikwenzayo
is to remain silent
ukuthi kumele ngithule
and to be true to what I think the principles I have upheld, taught and believed for several decades now.
Yimi emaqinisweni engingawakholelwa ngawafundisa isikhathi eside manje.
Which is to go to the word or the lines or inspiration
ukuthi ngiye emgqeni noma emibhalweni
and to work out the truth.
bese ke ngiveza iqiniso khona.
And I know for me,
Ngiyazi ke ukuthi ngokungami
it takes a long time
kungithatha isikhathi eside
to understand the intricacies of a complicated message.
ukuthi ngizwisise ke ubunzima balo mlayezo.
So that we're all clear.
Ngiyacabanga ukuthi kuyasicacela sonke.
I'm not making any announcement next week, you know, that was not true.
Into engizokusho ke ngeviki elizayo bengasiqiniso lokho.
But if and when it is,
noma ngabe bekuyiqiniso,
things begin to take a particular course, whatever direction that leads in.
kuzoba noshintsho luba khona ngazi ukuthi lizosolela kuphi.
So I'm hoping
engithembayo ngokuthi
that I don't make the same mistakes
ukuthi angenzi iphutha elifanayo
as my predecessors.
Njengalabo abangandulela mina.
Don't listen to people close to me
Ningalaleli abantu abasondelane nami
who say, look, they're going to take your glory and your fame and your job or whatever it is.
buka bazothatha ke umsebenzi wakho noma udumo lakho noma yini ekhona
Or the message is wrong.
noma umlayeza kuyiwona.
You need to do something about it.
Kumele kube khona okwenzayo ngalokho.
Seems to me
Kubonakala kumina
that my responsibility is
umsebenzi wami ukuthi kuwukuthi
to try to understand the truth for myself,
ukuthi ngizwisise iqiniso mina.
regardless of whether I'm an angel or not.
Noma ngabe yingilosi noma ngabe ngiyona.
And once I come to an understanding,
Mase ngifinyelele ekuzwisiseni
which could take me a long time,
okungangithatha isikhathi eside,
then I think it's my responsibility to share how I view and understand things.
ngicabanga ukuthi kumsebenzi wami ukuthi ngiveze ukuthi ngizwisisa kanjani izinto noma ngizibona kanjani.
And I don't think any of us should be afraid of what the future holds for us.
Angicabanga ukuthi khona phakathi kwethu kumele sazi ukuthi ikusasa libukeka kanjani.
Whether I would agree or disagree.
Noma ngizovuma noma ngingivume.
So that's the reason why I have not made any comments, and it's been several months now.
Yisizathu sokuthi nginganenzeleli kube isikhathi samanje.
Because one thing I have learned
Ngoba ngikufundile
is that when you apply pressure to a message,
ukuthi mawuletha ingcindezi kumlayezo khona
one of two things happen.
kwenzeka lokho noma okubili.
They either collapse
Mhlambe uyawa kumlayezo
or they develop.
noma ukhule.
And if you shut down a message too quickly,
Mawucindezela ngaphambi kwesikhathi umlayezo
it does not have an opportunity to develop.
awubi nesikhathi sokuthi ukwazi ukukhula.
That the person giving the message doesn't have the opportunity to explain misunderstandings.
Umuntu ophiwe lo mlayezo akabi nethuba lokuthi achazisise umlayezo ngendlela aphiwe ngayo.
That's why I've given all this space for Elder Terry to share what she understands.
Yingakho ngimupha isikhathi esingakho umdala uThero ukuthi akachaze lokho akuzwisisayo.
But I've also believed
Kodwa ngingaphinde ngakholwa ukuthi
that it's positive,
ukuthi kuhle,
and I don't think there's enough of it.
angicabanga ukuthi kwanele futhi.
People standing up and fighting against what she's teaching. Explaining why they don't agree. Because it's in that formal arena where studies are given, presentations, that things are made clear. And the more resistance she gets, the more she'll have the ability, the opportunity to explain and develop what she's teaching. Neither it will get stronger or it will collapse. So unlike many people, I actually don't have any fear or concern of what's going on currently. I think it's healthy for us to have this conflict in the movement today. And I caution everybody on whatever side you are to not accept the message too readily, or not to reject it too readily, but to listen to the arguments on all sides, and either let her explain what appeared to be mistakes or cracks, and if she's not able to, those cracks will grow and the message will fail, and we'll see that it was some other truth. I apologize for going over time. Hope we had an enjoyable time together studying. Hope we will have a blessed exam. Let's pray. Holy God, help us to understand our responsibilities as individual people who are trying to make their way to heaven, and as a corporate body who you have designed that we should work together. Help us to know what we should be doing wherever we find ourselves. We want to take a special moment to pray for Elder Terry. Many of us may not know or realize, because we haven't experienced it, the enormous pressure or stress that she must be under. So please be with her. Pray that you would be with the members, that you would help them to understand these truths. Be with me, that I might be humble enough and wise enough to make the right decisions, to help guide and direct this work. Bless us this special day. In Jesus' name. Amen.